So here is a look at Chelsea's summer transfer business so far, and there seems to have been a distinct shift in that, along with the established model of signing young players with high potential, we're seeing that they seem to have consciously added some proven veteran Premier League names in there, with the likes of Jordan Henderson and Danny Welbeck. Gab Marcotti still with us. What do we expect from Chelsea this season, Gab?
Well, obviously they did a bit of a U-turn on the policy. All those people complaining about lack of veteran leadership. Boom, here's Jordan Henderson. Here's Danny Welbeck. You don't get more veteran leaders than those two. I think Xabi Alonso obviously placed certain conditions when he took over the job, and he said, like, no more of this project stuff. Let's get the right balance. So they've obviously abandoned the model, at least partially. Now they're going to have to extricate themselves from the model, because the model's designed to be longer term, and they're already under a settlement agreement with UEFA for violating their version of financial stability rules. They've been fined if they don't reach certain targets this summer in terms of incomings and outgoings and costs. Then they're going to be fined again. So that whole right-hand side of the graphic that you showed before with the players out, I would expect that to get a whole heck of a lot longer by August 31st. Otherwise, Chelsea are going to have some serious problems.
Well, it's interesting you say that, Gab, because we ask you to put together an 11 for Chelsea for the coming season of what we've seen right now with these names. Where are the areas of concern where there needs to be reinforcements?
I don't think they need too many more reinforcements. I think they need to move somebody out, and that's why, I highlighted Enzo. Enzo Fernandez is a Chelsea player right now. Anything can happen, but I do not expect him to be a Chelsea player when the window closes. I think that spot in midfield, we might see Dario Isugo there. We might see Romeo Lavia if he's fit. We might see Jordan Henderson. We might see Reece James there. There's Valentin Barco as well. We saw him play left back. He can also play midfield, of course. So there's a whole range of options that that can come in there. I put that lineup as a 4-2-3-1. Of course, we all know in possession it becomes a back three. That's the way Xabi Alonso likes it. And of course, the fullbacks on both sides, whether it's Hato or James or indeed Marco Palestra, who's looked pretty good in some of the early friendlies. They're going to change it, and it's going to become a de facto 3-3-4 when Chelsea are attacking, again very much in the Xabi Alonso mold. But to me, that's the major question mark right now. I don't see them bringing in another center forward. I see them shifting a bunch of players out, but really the only starting caliber player that you would see moving out right now is Enzo.
When you take a look at that 11 and you take a look at the names who are in right now at Chelsea and who they've already got, Shaka, what are your expectations for them? What's their ceiling?
Chelsea's ceiling, I think top four at best, and even so, and that is definitely an at best. I think Arsenal, Manchester City, Manchester United, Liverpool potentially are better than Chelsea. And while you look at that Chelsea and that 11, certainly top half of the park looks decent. At the back, I have continued to have concerns. Sanchez as well is a goalkeeper who's had his moments in both positive and negative ways. And I felt that was a position that they would address. And similarly, along the back four. For as good as they have been at times, for all the promise that Xabi Alonso brings as a manager, I still don't see this Chelsea finishing top four.
With no Europe and a good shot at just focusing on the Premier League.
They have a chance at a top four, but they're going to have to become a team very quickly. And I think it's obvious for anybody that has been part of a locker room that when you see a bunch of guys come in and you're kind of trying to figure out where do I fit in, because you know that there's a new manager. All these guys have been brought in, and you say, am I in or am I out? And even if I stay here, am I part of the rotation? Am I having to defend my place? And those guys are coming in with the expectation that they're going to play, but they don't really know what the roles are. And so how do you, within a locker room, then become a team? Which, in essence, is what Chelsea are going to need to be in order for them to be competitive and for them to achieve, and I think in my mind would be overachieve, if they were able to get into a top 4 position. And so there's a lot of work to be done here for Xabi Alonso, and I think he's deconstructing before he constructs. I think he is sort of kind of taking pieces away, and we don't need that, we don't need this, we are going to bring other guys, we're going to bring other personalities, we're going to bring some leadership. So we're in the deconstruction process so that then he can construct. And he has proven, as he did in Bayer Leverkusen, that he can construct. I don't believe that he will have the freedom to construct without any sort of pressure, and the time to construct without any sort of pressure. There's an expectation because of Chelsea and the brand that they are, that first weekend of the season, they're going to be ready to go and they're going to be winning matches. And if that's not the case, I do believe that there's going to be some pressure on Xabi Alonso, but I imagine that he does have the support from Chelsea, and therefore he's going to be able to allow himself to make decisions that make him happy and that make sense in his head, not necessarily decisions that are going to be short-term solutions.
We've got more questions for the panel to answer in the latest edition of Extra Time. You can check it out every single day over on our YouTube channel.